Hi BC, Dave back at you again. Yes, the beard is gone. I decided it was time to go. Yeah, that's probably about the longest I've ever gone growing a beard, I think. Anyway, I hope you're all having a great Christmas. I'll probably upload this just after Christmas, so uh, I hope you're all, yeah, really enjoying the festive season. And may I take this opportunity to wish everybody in the BC a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Before I'm just going to show CDs and cassettes which I found in various charity shops, charity stroke thrift shops, over the last few months. There's no vinyl, so sorry about that. Before I start, I would just like to take the opportunity to show, this is a magazine of the organisation whom I work for, the Cork Folklore Project. As the name suggests, they are a folklore and history non-profit organisation who do ethnological interviews with people here in Cork about memories and particularly about times past. They bring out this magazine once a year, and I have an article in it myself. This is an article I wrote about a theatre group here in Cork, a theatre group whom I myself have been involved in. They're an amateur drama group, the Cork Shakespearean Company, who were founded in 1924, and they were founded by this guy, a priest by the name of Father O'Flynn. I did some interviews with some old long-term members who remembered him from his he died in the early 1960s, so I did some interviews with some people who kind of remembered him from, say, the 50s up to the 50s and early 60s. But very proud to have that article published, and there's some really nice photos as well. But a great little magazine. It's a free magazine. It's distributed free here in the city in Cork. Okay, enough of that. Before I show all my thrift and charity shop finds, I've just showed something which I meant to show in my last video but which I forgot. This was a Discogs purchase. This is John Zorns Naked City. This originally came out in 1990, and this was John Zorn, yeah, kind of avant-garde New York, kind of product of the kind of no-wave, well, I don't know, kind of loosely tied with the kind of no-wave scene. This came out in 1990, and this is a kind of a crossover of free jazz and grindcore. It's kind of, I think he was listening to a lot of grindcore kind of metal stuff at the time, and yeah, so this is a really kind of extreme kind of melding of free jazz and grindcore metal. One that I've been looking for a long time, but that was a Discogs purchase from a few months back. But anyway, everything else I'm going to show I found in thrift stroke charity shops. I'll start off with my most recent haul. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Yeah, so I popped into a charity shop a few days ago and made some extremely nice finds. Somebody had dumped a really collectible collection of CDs. Starting off with, I was very surprised to find this, because this was only released a few years ago. Dead Can Dance, Anastasis, their most recent album from 2012. Yeah, so this was basically their comeback album. Dead Can Dance, Australian kind of ethereal, yeah, kind of hard to describe them really. It's kind of their roots in goth rock, but they take in a whole load of influences. Yeah, so this came out in 2012, which kind of after a long absence, and it really is a kind of a superb return for them. So I was really surprised to find that, because it's such a kind of recent release. Now this is a really, really nice find. This is quite rare. John Foxx, Cathedral Oceans 3. John Foxx, the original vocalist with Ultravox. This is an ambient work which he released in 2005. It's part of a series. Yeah, this is really... It's called Cathedral Oceans 3, and it is kind of influenced by... It does sound like it was recorded in a cathedral. It does have... There is a kind of almost kind of plain song kind of influence in there, but it's absolutely superb, and it's really, really hard to find as well. It goes for quite a lot online, and I'm very lucky to find it. Somebody just gave it away to a charity shop. Oh yes, 2 by Mike Oldfield. Incantations. I think this is his 4th album, or was it the 3rd? Yeah, his 4th actually. Yeah, from 1978. Pretty much mostly instrumental. This is a 2000 reissue, and this is actually a HD CD. So I played this on my partner's CD player, which is obviously HD CD compliant, and the sound quality on this is absolutely astonishing. It just sounds absolutely amazing. And again, this is quite collectible. This particular edition. This goes for, it's not cheap, like, so. Again, a bonus to find this in a charity shop. Now, this is by Tindersticks. This is called Simple Pleasure, an album which originally came out in 1999. Tindersticks are a band who are... how to describe them? Kind of loungy, kind of lounge-influenced indie, kind of lo-fi music. This is by the way, this is a reissue, a double CD reissue of this album with an extra disc of bonus material. And again, this goes for quite a lot online. This particular edition. So like, there's some seriously collectible CDs that this whoever it was had these, just dumped them, just gave them away. So oh yeah, sorry, another one by Mike Oldfield. This is the orchestral Tubular Bells, which I think it originally came out in '75, and performed by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. This is a CD reissue from the early noughties, and another very nice find indeed. And I think finally, the final part of that particular haul was an album which surprisingly I didn't have on either CD or vinyl, but which now I do. Bowie, Earthling from 1997. This is the one where he went all kind of drum and bass. Not the best of his later period albums, but still, I certainly wasn't leaving it behind. And yeah, I found this the following day in a different in a totally different charity shop. This is Marianne Faithfull, Before the Poison. This is from 2004. She does there's a songs here by PJ Harvey and by Nick Cave. So this is a really kind of dark album. Yeah, it's certainly. Yeah, I do like Marianne Faithfull. Her Broken English is an absolute classic, and this is a really good later period work by her. What else? Oh yeah. These were two recent finds as well. This is an unusual one. This is by a guy called Eric Friedlander, and it's called Black Ice and Propane. He is from, I think he's from the American Midwest, and this is kind of a, it's kind of a concept album, I think, about maybe the Dust Bowl, but it's entirely played on solo cello, but it's like cello. It's kind of hard to describe. It's almost like bluegrass music played on a cello, if you can imagine that. The effects are really quite interesting. So yeah, it's an unusual one. It's from 2007. Yeah, and at the same time as I found that, I also picked this up. This is by Stephen Dunkelman, and this is called Rinzones. Stephen Dunkelman is a Belgian composer, and this is kind of very avant-garde music concrete. This came out, when did this come out? It's kind of mostly music that was recorded in the 90s. I think it might have come out around 2000 or thereabouts, but a very interesting find. It's on a Canadian label, Experimente Digitales. So interesting find. I'll be showing some more CDs in a minute, but I'm just going to go through cassettes. Now, a couple of these cassettes I showed in my last video. I just showed them briefly, but I'm going to go show them again. But I'm going to go through them properly this time. This was a big cassette haul I made a few weeks back. Actually, in the same charity shop where I found, what was it? No, forget it. Anyway, I found these all in the same place. They were all 50 cent each. So, yeah, I start off. I think I showed this in the last video. Midnight Express, Giorgio Moroder. It's a Saudi Arabian bootleg. So I showed it already. Ennio Morricone, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is a compilation, but I was kind of disappointed to find that these aren't the original, they're not the original Morricone arrangements. They're basically covers of his, a lot of his best-known movie music. It's on some budget label. I think I showed this last time as well. Dr. Zhivago, Ryan's Daughter, by, what's his name again? Maurice Jarre, father of Jesus, I've forgotten his name again. I forgot his name in the last video as well. This is Factory 05. This is a compilation album from the Factory label, Factory Records, Manchester label, which was home to Joy Division, etc. This came out in 1991. So this actually came out just before the label went bust. I think they folded maybe the following year thereabouts. So there's a lot of tracks on it from kind of New Order, Happy Mondays, etc. I'm sure this actually came in a magazine, I think. It was one of those free Probably one of those free things that came in the magazine. Yeah, I showed this last time as well. The undoubted highlight, Music for Films 3, Brian Eno, and others as well. This came out in 1988. I already have this on CD, and this is absolutely superb. So delighted to find this on tape as well. The Men They Couldn't Hang. The Men They Couldn't Hang. They were a band. This is called Silvertown. This is from 1988. They were a band kind of like the Pogues. They did this kind of folk punk kind of thing in the 80s. Yeah, so it's okay. It's an okay album. I wasn't crazy about it really. Not as good as the Pogues. Oh yeah, I actually haven't listened to this one yet. This is Al Stewart. That's Al Stewart who had that song, The Year of the Cat. This is from Last Days of the Century, and this is from the late 80s. So yeah, must listen to this. Oh yeah, I showed this last time as well. Enya, her debut album, self-titled debut album. Yeah, so I showed this last time and I went through it a bit. Oh yeah, and I showed this last time as well. The Best of Mike Oldfield, which is two cassettes. This is from 1985, so some pretty decent stuff in there, as you can imagine. Oh yes, another Mike Oldfield. This is Islands, which came out in 1987. This is some kind of weird bootleg kind of thing. This is definitely a bootleg, but where it originated from, I don't know. But this is an album which is, I like side one. Side one is instrumental. It's kind of, side two. I'm not so impressed with. It's kind of side two is song based, and yeah, not great. And of course, yeah, I was going to go on to, oh yeah, staying with Mike Oldfield. Now this is definitely, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, this is the worst Mike Oldfield album that I have ever listened to anyway. This came out in '89. This came out after Islands. This is called Earth Moving, and this is just entirely, there's no instrumentals on this. It's all in these kind of awful 80s style kind of rock ballads. It's like he was really desperate to have a hit single from, and it's, yeah, this is a bad album. Didn't like it at all. Yeah. Oh yes, this is an interesting one. Furniture, Love, Sex and Paranoia. Furniture, British indie band, active in the 80s. This is from 1989. Really kind of interesting, kind of art rock kind of thing, kind of influenced by a little bit of a Roxy Music kind of an influence. And yep, Temple of the Dog from 1991. Yes, this included, yeah, the late Chris Cornell of Soundgarden is on the, yeah, pretty decent album. And there's one by Tangerine Dream, the very best of Tangerine Dream. Unfortunately, this doesn't play. The tape is all kind of snarled up inside the tape. Yeah, it's all snarled up inside the cassette, so it's unplayable, unfortunately. So I was delighted to find this, but then I found that I can't play it, so that was rather unfortunate. Yeah, so those are the cassettes. I'm going to go on to some more CD finds. Now this, okay, made two finds by Prince. Emancipation from 1996. Triple CD. So 3 discs. This is a monster. Yeah, I've picked this up for €1, which is great. And on the same day as I found it, I found this in a different location. This is it's just called Symbol, isn't it? Yeah, Symbol. From 92. Yeah, 1992. I think this was the first one he released under that Symbol name. So, yeah, again, another nice find. Now these, I'm going to show. These are a big bunch of CDs which I found in the same location. They were 50 cents each. So, the Velvet Underground. What is Velvet Underground? Yeah, 1969 Velvet Underground Live Volume 2. With that famous cover. CD reissue from, I think, the late 80s or thereabouts. Now these two are really interesting. Two by Quicksilver Messenger Service. These are two live albums. Live at the Fillmore Auditorium, San Francisco, 6th of February 1967. And the other one is the Avalon Ballroom, San Francisco, 28th of October 1966. With some pretty psychedelic cover art. Some kind of budget releases. Yeah, Bear Records. Some kind of, budget. But yeah, very pleased to pick those up. Yes, this is an album I was looking for. Tom Waits, Mule Variations, from 1999. It's got that track, What's He Building in There? Yeah, this is one. I really like this. This is one of my favorite kind of later Tom Waits ones. Yes, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. What can you say about this one? Yeah, I don't think I need to add anything about that. This is a really interesting find. Genesis, their debut album, Genesis from Genesis to Revelation. Originally came out in 1969. Very psychedelic in comparison to their later stuff. Yeah, very, very different to what you'd be kind of used to from them. Rush, A Farewell to Kings, for 1977. Oops. Yeah. Okay. I'll move on kind of quickly. Oh yes, and a Charlie Parker double compilation. Yes, it was a nice find. That was only 50 cents. Very nice indeed. Now, these I've kept in the bag because I've been wanting to show these. These I picked up in another charity shop a few months back. They were all only 50 cents each, and there's some really, really nice stuff in here. Dylan and the Dead. So no need to tell you who's on this. Bob Dylan and the Grateful Dead. Recorded live in 1989. Carl Jenkins, The Armed Man, A Mass for Peace. Carl Jenkins, he was originally in Soft Machine. And this is a kind of modern classical choral work which he composed. And it came out in 2001. So this is really interesting. It was recorded. Where was it recorded again? It was some cathedral somewhere, I think. Was it? Or maybe I'm wrong. No. London Philharmonic Orchestra. Yes, this is this kind of world music kind of influences, like Eastern music, and it's kind of a medieval kind of yeah, this is a really interesting find. Carl Jenkins, The Armed Man, A Mass for Peace. Fugazi, the hardcore American hardcore band, May the 7th, 1999. This is a live album which was recorded here in Ireland in Kilkenny. And apparently have a whole series of these live albums with these kind of similar covers. I'll just go through these. Oh yes, I'm absolutely delighted with this. Blade Runner, Vangelis. I picked this up on vinyl last year, but I just couldn't resist this. It's just great to have it on CD as well now. Actually, the following day, I went to see the new Blade Runner film, which is absolutely superb. So it was really quite a bonus to pick this up as well. So, and again, another album which I don't think needs an introduction. What's Going On? Marvin Gaye. Yeah, an absolute all-time classic. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll leave it at this. The Cure, self-titled album. This came out. This is another later one. This came out only a few years ago. It's a double. I think it came out in 2000 and I don't know, 2000 and something anyway. But it's okay. It's an okay album, but it still was nice to pick it up for that price. Okay, that's it. So I hope everybody has a great Christmas, and I'll be back to the vinyl next time, hopefully. So everybody have a great New Year, and take it easy.